Hi, hello, Jessica. How are you? Hello. Oh, wait a minute. I think your mic is on. No, I think your mic is actually muted. I can't hear you. There you go. Hi, hello. Oh, yes. Thank you so much for coming to this live Zoom meeting to speak with me about your lactation issues. My name is Zari, of course, you know that, and I am a certified lactation support provider, and I'm also a peer counselor, and I am also a certified doula. So, and many more things. Also, an author. I know I do a lot of things. But thank you so much for booking this Zoom meeting with me. So, tell me about some of the issues you're having with your breastfeeding. You didn't really mention a whole lot in the description of the booking. So let me get some questions for you. Are you having? What are some of the issues you're having with breastfeeding? I'm just gonna go ahead and try to get my pen and to write down some of your issues. Okay. Okay. So you have pierced nipples. Okay. Well, what I would tell you about pierced nipples, I would say it's still okay to breastfeed the baby with pierced nipples. It's completely fine. There's no issues at all. There's no thing that says you can't breastfeed because you have pierced nipples. So that's a good thing. However, there are some problems that can occur if you have scar tissue from your nipple piercing, like milk transfer. So, if you have scar tissue, it can kind of slow the amount of milk that's coming out of the breast. And that can be, the scar tissue can kind of block milk at times. Some milk will come out, but you'll notice that it'll come out a little slower, or a less amount of milk will come out. And that could potentially cause a dip in your supply or a decrease in production. So that is a thing that could potentially happen, or that could be happening now. Um, but have you started breastfeeding yet? Okay, so you haven't started breastfeeding yet. Okay. How I'm sorry. How old is the baby? Okay, so the baby is a week old. Oh, this is a very young baby. Okay. Okay, so you haven't started breastfeeding at all. Okay, so you haven't breastfed. Okay. You need to start trying to remove milk from your breast as soon as possible, because you don't want your supply to go down. And the only way to know if scar tissue has affected milk transfer is to start latching the baby or pumping. So, you want to go ahead and try latching the baby, to see if your milk is going to come out slower, or there's some problems with milk transfer. If there is no issue and you don't have like scarring tissue that has blocked the milk in some way, everything will go fine. But you have to start breastfeeding in order to find that out. I know that you didn't know whether or not you could breastfeed. That's why you were waiting to talk to me, right? Okay, okay. So that's why you hadn't started breastfeeding, because you thought that your pierced nipples could prevent you from breastfeeding. No, so yeah, it doesn't. It just depends if it if that tissue is scarred in some way where it can block that milk transfer. Yeah. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Also, when you do start to latch the baby, I would highly recommend trying to and practicing latching baby now. Like I said, you want to start removing milk as soon as possible so your milk won't go down. I would highly recommend, cleanliness. Make sure your hands are clean whenever you remove the piercing whenever you breastfeed, because you're going to have to remove that piercing to let the baby feed from that breast that's pierced, because you don't want that baby to choke, like have a choking hazard, and then they swallow the actual jewelry. So you want to remove that piece of jewelry before the baby feeds from the breast. So make sure your hands are clean, before um, before removing the piece of jewelry from your breast, and then after removing the piece of jewelry from your breast. So, because you don't want any germs or any bacteria to get to that baby while the baby is feeding from you. So that keep that in mind. And also too, um, it's really quite interesting that you asked that question about nipple piercings, because I actually have a replica here that I can show you. So look at this. Isn't that cool? No, there we go. So this is a replica of a pierced nipple. And as you can see, this might be what your breast looks like. Does it? Okay, yes, it does. Okay. So I wanted to show you this because if your breast is pierced horizontally, you will notice that milk leaks from those piercing holes. Sometimes it may leak from the piercing holes, and then if it's pierced like this way, vertically, it could, it'll leak from those holes, but it may spray out that way too. So you may have milk coming up from here, coming down from there, and milk coming out of that way and that way. That's normal because you have holes there. So milk is going to probably naturally leak from those areas, depending on how it's pierced. And or it may come out slower depending on if you have scarry tissue. So just keep that in mind. We can only know for sure if we start our breastfeeding journey to see. So just keep that in mind. But if you have any issues or any problems getting that baby to latch, let me know. But for right now, remember what I said about the cleanliness and checking to see if milk transfer is good. So those are the things you want to look for right now. And once you start latching, baby, make sure you feed on demand or response feed. Now that, because this is the beginning, you want to make sure you start off strong. You want to make sure you're removing as much milk as possible whenever that baby is hungry. Response feeding is key, because if you start response feeding 3 to 4 weeks for a whole month, preferably, you're going to have a really good milk supply. You're going to be more than likely you're going to have a really good supply established, and that'll help, your production. So just keep that in mind. Response feeding is really good because it helps prevent overfeeding, and then baby learns how to self-regulate. So that's a good thing. You want to do that. So that'll probably be about, I'd say, every 1.5 to 3 hours, 8 to 12 feedings per day. So sounds like a lot, but once you start doing it and getting into the hang of it, it'll come so natural to you. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I enjoyed so much talking to you. Um, and this session was awesome. I want to thank you so much for coming and doing a Zoom meeting with me. But I also, since you did book this session, I am going to do a follow up session with you, just to make sure you're successful in your breastfeeding journey. So I will follow up with you since baby is a week old. It'll probably be next week sometime, or it'll be 10 days from now. I like to do 7 to 10 day checkups because I always want to make sure my moms are successful in their lactation journey, and if they're really applying the tips that I share with them. So I'm definitely going to follow up with you, okay? But if you need me beforehand and you have some more questions or any other concerns, just let me know, okay? I'm always here to help. Reach out to me. You say what? Oh yeah, thank you so much. I just did my hair like this. I love it. I bought this product called, I believe it's called unicorn hair lime crime, and I dyed it this really pretty cherry chocolate color. I love it. It's so pretty. Yeah. I think it looks really good on me and my skin tone. Thank you, girl. Thank you so much. Well, you have an excellent day, and I will talk to you next time on Zoom. Bye.